Let's start with a good physical warm-up. So we're going to start off just with our hands flicking. Give it a good flick. Make sure that it's not just a passive thing. Make sure that there's a little resistance with your thumb against your fingers so that they're nice and strong. And then a little shake like a wave, and a little shake like fanning yourself, and another wave and fanning yourself, and wave. Good. Not waving but drowning. We're also just going to stretch out our arms, so just extend your arm out and put your fingers, pull your fingers down a little bit. Just give yourself a little stretch. Good. We'll also do our nice little pretzel. So you fold your arm, right elbow inside the left elbow, and then the left curls around the right arm. And the other way around. So extend your right arm, left elbow inside, and curl your right around. Sue doesn't do this one. She's given up. She doesn't like looking like a pretzel. Okay, good. Also, just extend your hands up above you. Link your fingers together and stretch upwards. Nice big stretch. Take a good deep breath in. Stretch those ribs and out, relaxing down. One more time. In you go, in. And out. Relaxing down. Good. If you're standing up, I want you to do a big hula, really big hula with your hips. If you're sitting down, you're just going to do the twist in the seat. But if you're standing up, really big hula. Yeah, really big hula. And if you're sitting down, you're just doing the little twist. Making sure that you're giving your spine a really nice stretch. Okay. All right, let's just roll our shoulders around a little bit. Okay, good. Right. Physically feeling nice and awake? Good. We're just going to do one last thing, which is, I know that we normally start with our necks. So just one little thing. We're going to just lengthen our neck up really nice and long, and then tilt upwards and stretch the front of our neck. And then right down, let it hang for a minute. Moment, not a minute. And then to the side. I definitely have a crick in my neck today. Doesn't want to go as far as it would normally go. And the other side, oh, that's the one that's horrible. If you're finding a bit of resistance, add a bit of extra weight with your hand. Good. All right. Oh. Let's do a little bit of singing. You're going to go, ya, 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 and ya, 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 ya. So staccato and legato. The staccato ones are little bursts of energy coming from that little zone just below your sternum. Ya, 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 ya. See how much movement there is there? One too many turkey sandwiches, I think, but yeah, 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 yeah. And then the legato isn't not with that, it is then a sustained squeeze. So yeah, 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 yeah. There's a squeeze there, okay? And yeah, 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 yeah. 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 we can also do one little exercise that's similar, but instead of the ya, you go bzz, 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 bzz. So that's quite a good one, because you can't force your throat. You can't force your larynx to work. You have to engage here to get the sound to work. So it's a really good way just to make sure that all of those muscles are actually working to make the sound. Yes? So we can also do a little, we're just going to do one little exercise about gentle sound. You're going to go, and I want you to think about the line of the sound as traveling outside of your mouth. You know how those rude people who chew gum and then pull the gum out? Ugh. But I want you to imagine that the sound that you're creating is a sound that is a thread, and you can pull it out. So you go, okay? Ready to do it? You don't have to do the choreography, but if it helps, then go for it. And it's a relaxed jaw. Yes, everything is really nice and wide and open, but relaxed. The only thing that's really working is those little muscles going wee for the extension. So as you pull the sound out, that contract. Yes? Have you noticed something different about your sound when you think about the thread? Has it made a difference to the sound that you're making? Oh dear, Wendy's giving me a head shake. No, no. I would have hoped that it would give you a difference. I would hope. What I'm after is for you to not just be creating a tone, that isn't really singing. That's just making a noise. So ma is without any shape, without any focus, without any direction, without any sense of purpose. That's just making a tone. But creating a line. It's a communication thing, I think. It just feels like that's more communicated, perhaps. It's quite an elusive quality. But I want you to just think a little bit about that when we're singing long notes, they're not just a note that's being produced like an electronic machine, but there is breath and earth and life behind it. Just do one more of those. Did that feel different? Lots of nods that time, hurrah. Okay, we're also going to do just one last little thing, which is a little scale down, and then we're going to crack on because we've got lots of music to sing today. So you're going to go coo coo, sorry, coo 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 coo. I didn't take enough breath. Let's try that again. And coo 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 Feeling nice and tall while you do it. Think about the back of the throat where the k happens. Just go k and feel where that sound happens in your mouth. K. It's the soft palate up against the back of the tongue. K. They just have this little plosive moment there, and so it's a glottal plosive consonant. I'm not sure entirely if that's the right description of it, but that's what it does essentially. The glottal and there's a little bit of resistance and then an explosion of sound forwards, which makes that k happen. But the reason I'm after that k is because it's a great way of lifting up the soft palate and feeling where it is in the mouth. So take in a good yawny breath. Then you've lifted it already, and you go coo, 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 coo. One more of those. Coo, 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 coo. Sorry. Do one more, this time go on ga. Same thing, less plosive, but same zone. Same zone in the back of the throat. So you're going to go ga, 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 ga. And we need a few high notes for one or two of these songs because they're quite epic. So we're going to do a little bit more. So here we go. This is the last one. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 is a really good thing to sing actually, because it's another great way. Shall I talk to the person on the telephone then? Was that a cold call? I thought the reception was cold. Yes, so the ga sound is really good because again it helps you just feel a little bit of energy away from the larynx. It's not in the throat, it's higher up, it sits up here. And so you deflect the sound away from the throat, which is what we're always trying to do. We're trying to make the sound somewhere else in the body, never in the larynx, which is where it happens, of course. But all that energy onto those tiny little vocal cords is what causes lots of problems. So we have to try and protect them by putting the energy elsewhere. So the g is a great way of making sure that we're accessing our head register. Same with the k as well. Okay, so the first song I thought we would have a little go at is I Vow to Thee, My Country. Yeah. I thought it would be a good one to start off with because it's a familiar tune, and I know that I promised you Jerusalem, but actually I just felt like this one has so much more lyricism to it that I enjoy it a little bit more. So I vow to thee, my country, all earthly things above, entire and whole and perfect, the service of my love. The love that asks no questions, the love that stands the test, that lays upon the altar the dearest and the best. The love that never falters, the love that pays the The love that makes undaunted the final sacrifice. And there's another country I've heard of long ago, most dear to them that love her, most great to them that know. We may not count her, sorry, we may not count her armies, we may not see her king, her fortress is a faithful heart, her pride is suffering. Her soul by solemn silently, her shining bounds increase, and her ways are ways of gentleness, and all her paths are peace. I think that's really beautiful. Just as one of the most, I also just think that the sentiment behind it is so unmilitaristic, or you know, it doesn't say we're better than you or anything like that. It just says that I love my country in a way that isn't at the expense of somebody else. I think that's a rather nice sentiment to have. Okay, I'm going to move on because that's just sort of a little warm-up song. I'm going to move on to the Welsh national anthem. We're going to look at we're going to actually use the phonetic version at the bottom of the page. Do you see that? Rather than trying to read, I mean, if you're fluent in Welsh, then go ahead, read it in Welsh. But I kind of need a little bit of phonetic help, and I've written this out as best I can in terms of how I think the sounds sound. So it's a phonetic, but it's not in the most phonetically accurate way, I guess. It's just the way I think the sound should. So. My hen wlad ver ad I un an we will e me. That's right. So my hen wlad. So that wlad is the wool is very quick. So mein hen wlad van hande on will e me. Glad, and again, glad, beira cantorion en wogion ovri, guro vravelvir, glad garvir dramad, dros ruvid con casan, I glide, glad, glad, pleidiol urivim glad, dramorun vir, vir of bar, obaved vilhem yachbar high. Did that sound Welsh enough to you? Also, have you ever looked at the translation? Has that ever been something that you were aware of? Because I just love the fact that it's poetry and singing and, you know, warriors and patriots. It's not just the warriors and the patriots. There are poets as well and singers. So let's look at the chorus. So this is glad, 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 played your good evening glad from morun vil of boy go boverim hemni bar high. I think that's rather lovely. Okay, well let's look at that last little bit in slow motion, so to speak. So you've got Wlad, Wlad. The thing is to not last on. It's really it's very difficult to write that sound down. It should actually have an apostrophe, so it's glad, but it's a glad g. There's a sound rather than just a g. So it's glad, glad, played your orivim glad. Tramorun vir ein beir of by, o gofed Ihem is bar high. And the bar has to have a bit of a rolled R at the end there. Otherwise it isn't the same word. So we're going to look at Flower of Scotland next, because this is the song that started us all off on this little anthemic twist. I can't remember who it was who said, oh, why don't we sing Flower of Scotland? Because we were doing all those Burns Night songs previously. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your like again? That fought and died for ye weebit hill and glen, and stood against him, prodded with army, and sent him homeward to think again. Those days are past now, and in the past they must remain. But we can rise up, and we'll be nations again that stood against him. God Edward's army that sent him homeward to think again. I love the fact that there's this little, we send him home to have a rethink. Well, you could try, but I think you should think again. I just love that last line, to think again. I think this is rather fun. It has a difficult lilt to it, though. There's a rhythmic thing where the bar somehow goes double length in one place. So, oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your like again? That fought and died for you weebit hill and glen, and stood against him, prodded with army, and sent him homeward to think again. So do you see there are these sort of moments? In music, they're called caesura, where you sort of hold the sound for a little bit and then you carry on with the same tempo. It's not quite a pause, and it's not a fermata. It's just a sort of, as if you go into treacle mode at that point, sort of marching through treacle. So I love this one. I think it's great. I just wish I had a bagpipe to do it on, because I think that would be much more fun. A doodle suck. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your like again? That fought and died for your weebit hill and glen, and stood against him, prodded with army, and sent him homeward to think again. Those days are past now, and in the past they must remain, but we can rise up and still the nation again, that's it against her. Brought Edward's army and sent him homeward to think again. I believe the Corries did a version of this, which is sort of very, very rousing and kind of slightly more on the Celtic side. But there's a lovely little bit of detail in the and send him homeward, send him homeward. That's very sort of Gaelic sounding, isn't it? It's sort of really got a flavour. It's rather lovely in that sense. Next up, we're going to look at Nkosi sikelel iAfrika. Somebody sent an email saying that because we're doing some anthems, can we hear Christopher sing Nkosi sikelel iAfrika? And I went, oh yeah, that's all right, I can do that. But as is with often my things to do, I don't like singing alone. So I'm going to make you sing along with me. But I will sing it to you first on my own. This doesn't normally have piano accompaniment, so I'm not going to do it with piano accompaniment. I'm just going to have it on its own. Nkosi sikelel iAfrika, malupagani son pondolwayo, izwa imitanda zo yetu, Nkosi sikelela, tina lusapolwayo, oza moya, oza, oza, oza moya, oza, oza, oza moya, o inklitwele, Nkosi sikelela, tina lusapolwayo, morena boluka se chabasa Jesu, o felice dintoale matreneu, o sibuluke se chabasa Jesu, se chabasa Jesu. Nkosi sikelel iAfrika, malupagani so pondolwayo, izwa imitanda zo yetu, Nkosi sikelela, tina lusapolwayo. Thank you. I missed out the bit that's sung in English and in Afrikaans. Would you like to hear that bit? It just goes after Se chabasa Jesu, Se chabasa South Africa, South Africa. Uit die blauw van onze hemel, uit die diepte van ons Heer, oor ons ewige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and fight for freedom in South Africa, our land. That's sort of how that bit goes usually. So the national anthem is slightly different to Nkosi sikelel Africa. Nkosi sikelel is actually a hymn that was written by Enoch Sitonga in the 30s. And then the Pan-African movement took it on as their sort of anthem, that hymn. And then the South African national anthem has a little bit of the old South African anthem put into it with a little extra. There are if I'm just thinking in the version you've got Nkosi, you've got Xhosa, Xhosa, isiZulu, and isiSotho. You've got 3 languages just on one page there, without the English and the Afrikaans as well, which is quite impressive, I think, if you think about how many. So the first stanza is in Xhosa, which is the language Nelson Mandela spoke. That was his home language. Enoch Sitonga came from a very, very similar background to Nelson Mandela, in the sense that he was a pastor and a sort of legal advisor out in the Eastern Cape, where the Xhosas come from. And then Woza Moya, that's the Zulu bit. That's the bit I know. I understand Zulu a bit. Where I grew up is from Zululand, so we speak Zulu in that area. And then the Morena Boloka is the Sotho language, which is the same as the people who speak in Lesotho, which is an independent country. They speak Sotho, but we also have lots of Sotho speakers in South Africa as well. Anyway, so that was the little. Here endeth the lesson. I didn't intend to tell you all of that stuff, but I thought you might find it interesting. Okay, so would you like to learn to sing the first lines, just as a sort of get the Xhosa bit under the tongue a little bit? So the thing to do is a lot of people make the mistake of not singing the N, and then they just go Nkosi sikelel. And Nkosi has something else. It has a different meaning. I can't remember quite what it is, but it's fairly rude. So it's very important to put that in there. So Nkosi sikelel. It's not necessarily that obvious on the ear, but if you put the NG in your mouth before you actually say anything, so you put the tongue right up against the soft palate as if you're going to go, and then you go Nkosi sikelel Afrika. Just sing that with me. Nkosi sikelel Afrika. Next line. All of those words looks very complicated there. Malu paganiso pondo luayo. So malu paganiso pondo luayo. Let's do that slowly together. Malu paganiso pondo luayo. Good. I'm seeing lots of mouths moving, which is great. They might not be moving in the right way, but that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Then yizwa imitandazo yetu. Yizwa, the ye comes from down below. Yizwa imitandazo yetu. Yizwa imitandazo. Yizwa imitandazo yetu. Nkosi sikelela tina lusapho lwayo. See, the PH in Xhosa doesn't mean f like we do in English. It's a po. It is a P and an H. So the same as malu paganiso. It's a pa. It's not just a pa, it's a pa. There's an H there. Malu paganiso. And the same with lusapho lwayo. It's not just lusapho lwayo, it's lusapho. There's a ho in there. Lusapho lwayo. Okay? Shall we try it all together from the top? To see how much of that stuck. Nkosi sikelel iAfrika, malupaganiso pondolwayo, yizwa imithandazo yethu, Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo. Did that go okay? Great, great stuff, great stuff. All right, we've still got a little bit of time left. Oh yes, this one. This is so lovely. This is for Ireland. This is for Northern Ireland, to be more specific. So we've done, by this sort of means, we've done a song for England, which is I Vow to Thee My Country, the Flower of Scotland. We've done Wales, and now we're doing Ireland now. So this is a very familiar tune. You'll know it, you'll recognize it instantly. I didn't realize that it was the same tune until quite recently, because I knew what the Londonderry Air was, but I always assumed that that was what Danny Boy was. I always thought that Danny Boy was the Londonderry Air, but it isn't. Londonderry Air has different words. So this is the one. There is no air as fragrant as the breeze blown across the foil my heart will ever vow. There is no thrush whose notes have such a sweet tone as warbles on a Londonderry bough. There is no stream can equal the dancing foil, its beauty blowing on a sunlit plain. In my dear homeland, in my dear homeland, now the apple bloom is white. How would that I were there again. There is no air as fragrant as the breeze blown across the foil my heart will ever vow. There is no thrush whose note has such a sweet tone as warbles on a Londonderry bough. There is no stream can equal the dancing foil, its beauty blowing on the sunlit plain. In my dear homeland now the apple bloom is white. How would that I were there again. Isn't that pretty? In Ireland, they have, for Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, when they play sports together, quite often the national team is made up of people from the Northern and the Republic. And so they don't sing a national anthem, they sing this song called Ireland's Call, which is rather wonderful. I don't know if you know it at all. Come the day and come the hour, come the glory and the night, we have answered the country's call for the four proud provinces of Ireland. Ireland, Ireland, together standing tall, shoulder to shoulder, we'll answer Ireland's call will answer Ireland's call. And then it has a key change, which is marvelous. I love that one too, but I didn't think that was appropriate for today, but it is a great song. Those were the songs I wanted to share with you today. Would you like to have a go at something a little bit papa-ish like Mull of Kintyre, just to get the pipes and the sways going? Would that be okay? Shall we do Mull of Kintyre? Great. Mull of Kintyre, mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be there, oh Mull of Kintyre. Far have I travelled, and much have I seen, dark distant mountains under valleys of green, past painted deserts, with sunsets on flowers we carry me home to the Mull of Kintyre, Mull of Kintyre, oh mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here, oh Mull of Kintyre. Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen, carry me back to the days I knew then, nights when we sat like a heavenly choir, and the life of the times of Mull of Kintyre, Mull of Kintyre, mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here, oh Mull of Kintyre, Mull of Kintyre, mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here, oh Mull of Kintyre, oh Mull of Kintyre. Lovely to see you all. I hope you had a great time doing a bit of rousing songs from the Union. And not a flag was waved. Not a flag was waved. I mean, that was a dangerous thing to get wrong. Thank you very much.